Hello, hello. Hi, Alicia. How are you?
Hi, Naomi. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm so glad you were able to come online and share some of your wisdom with everybody here right now, especially with such a relevant topic. To introduce yourself to the audience here is Alicia is from AltruWisdom, and I am in love with their platform and what they're doing. It is a platform that is helping us, all of us, younger crowds, to navigate life with that little bit of help. And maybe you have some questions that nobody can actually answer until you become wiser. So it's a lot about those questions that we don't ask ourselves until we're in trouble or life triggers happen. And I think that is such a great platform. So thank you so much for being here with us today. Maybe introduce yourself and give us a little bit of information on AltruWisdom.
Sure. So, my business partner and I started this about a year ago, although we've been thinking about it and working on it for longer than that. But we both come from a background working in the investment and kind of wealth industry, and we really didn't like how most of our friends wouldn't be able to afford that advice, or it's very difficult to access for the average Canadian. And so we wanted to take the great things we were learning from the people we were working with, and many of them have over 30 years of experience just helping people with their money, and then see if we could find a way to use technology to bring it for every Canadian. And so that's how AltruWisdom was born. And
So cool.
I know Naomi is going to ask, so I'll just say the reason we use the word wisdom a lot is because we realize that there's so much that you learn from experience that is hard to teach just from a book. And there's, where knowledge is just something you might learn in school, wisdom comes from when you've learned it through experience, you've made a mistake, you've learned how to do it the right way, and that's usually where great advice comes in. And so we're trying to see how we can take that wisdom that's acquired over so many years and pass it on before we go through the mistakes ourselves.
Love it.
And so that really drives everything on the site.
Love it. Love it. So what areas of wisdom do you guys focus on?
So because we're a financial tool, we have everything we feature is a financial undercurrent. And what we're really trying to do is help people make decisions that are in their financial lives. But we also know part of that wisdom is that money is at the root of a lot of things, but there's also emotional well-being. There are legal considerations a lot of the time, especially when you're running your own business. And then there are also like family relationships, housing and care, all those sides of it that come into play. And so our site takes all of that into consideration. So we don't just focus on the money side. We make sure that it integrates with all the other parts in your life too.
Good. Yeah. Well, I am so excited that we're going to be talking on a topic that's obviously on everybody's mind right now. As you can see, I'm pretty much in an empty office right now, and the city's kind of shut down, and we should be, obviously. We're protecting ourselves and protecting everybody else as well at this point. But there's this huge burden right now in our minds is, obviously, if we're not out there producing, we have no income. So can you maybe tell us a little bit of the wisdom that you guys have acquired by obviously looking at this situation? And we know it's new. It's not something that you would prepare for, but I'm sure that you guys collected a lot of information that could be very useful.
Yeah, so ever since COVID-19 hit, we've been really trying to help people in every way we can. And so we know that this is kind of uncharted territory. I don't think Canada or any other country's ever been through anything like this. And so there's a lot that's on the move and a lot that's changing every day, especially when it comes to the relief that the government's proposing. So we have done a lot of research, and we want to make it really simple for everyone to understand. The first thing I would say is that, remember, a lot of the announcements that are coming through are proposals, and they are not yet certainties. And so when we hear things like there will be $900 every 2 weeks, remember, that's not in your pocket yet. And we're not entirely sure what the exact timelines are. Like, they say April 2020, but we don't know when in April. And we don't know necessarily what the fine print on some of these things will be. And a lot of them aren't passed yet. They have a high likelihood of being passed, but it's just, we like to clarify to everybody that it's not yet there. Some things are, many aren't. So that's the first thing, is be careful what you're hearing, and don't take action based on that. But there are a lot of things you can do. So we know a lot of job jar skilled doers are like considered self-employed when they file their taxes, right? And so that is, a lot of people think that means you don't qualify for EI, but it's not necessarily the case. You could qualify for EI. And the easiest way to find that out is to just apply right away, and you can do so online. And we'll be sharing with Naomi, and I'm sure she'll share with all of you, resources to help you do that. But the first step is to see if you qualify, and if you do, to apply right away. Obviously, I'm sure you know a lot of people are applying right now, and they're not particularly equipped to handle that. So the sooner you apply, the better it is. They're not going to be imposing any timeouts, like, if usually with EI, if you don't apply within the first 4 weeks of being unemployed, you might miss out on some benefits and things like that. I think they're going to be very lax right now, but the key is to get ahead of it. And there also is, if you do end up qualifying and you can apply, there is usually a 1 week waiting period, which they will be waiving.
That's very interesting. Maybe we can even get into a bit more detail on that when you guys have it, or if you have it, is with EI and being obviously a self-employed as well, are all the rules applying the same as if you were unemployed? Because being self-employed, you kind of have a little bit control of what that income looks like. If there is a job tomorrow that you can go to, but you're on EI, how do you know if that same rules will apply?
Yeah, so usually a self-employed person will use EI through what's called their special benefits section. And so what they use for that is, instead of a normally employed person who might have a pay stub and consistent income, they will be using past tax returns. So it might depend on your tax returns from last year, which means if you haven't filed taxes, it's even more critical that you get working on that right away.
And you have the time.
Yeah, you have the time, and that's why we always recommend people file their taxes, is because you never know which benefits you're going to end up needing to apply for, right? And so, yeah, that's how they usually evaluate it. There are also benefits available for people who do not qualify for EI. Either because, and the reasons for that would be either if you haven't worked or contributed the correct number of hours and time, but that will be covered by what's called the emergency care benefit.
Okay.
So this is one that still is not passed, but likely will. And that's the one that you're hearing a lot about in the media, where it's $900 every 2 weeks for up to 15 weeks for those affected by COVID-19. And the key difference here for EI and for this emergency care benefit is that historically you would need to prove that you're not working and kind of prove that you're sick or taking care of somebody. But because of the situation, it's going to be much more of a what they call attestation. So you just kind of say that I'm not working or I've been quarantined, because obviously there's no resources to be checking who's quarantined and who's not right now. And so it is intended for those who cannot work, either because they're taking care of somebody or they themselves are quarantined, but it would apply for all of those people as well. And so I think what it looks like is they're just relaxing rules a lot.
That's so good. So good. We need that, especially right now. Nothing fits. Nothing fits in this little box anymore. With this situation.
And just for everyone's information, so if you do end up applying and are eligible for EI, the max payout currently is $573 per week, which can definitely help. And that I don't know if that will be changing or not. And again, you never know with the government, just like how long they're going to be allowing things and how much time before money runs out. So these things are never guarantees.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we'll come on video with another topic. We don't want to make this too long. Thanks so much.
Thank you.